She had mentioned to me that she just had gotten assaulted by an individual and that this individual pointed a gun at her.
Me sacó la pistola y me quería subir y yo empecé a gritar, help me, help me.
The woman you just saw is 27-year-old Erika Pena. On September 14th, 2018, a customer kidnapped her in his car and tried to kill her in Laredo, Texas.
I'm telling you to walk away. You're not listening to me.
But luckily, she managed to escape. When asked by an officer, she revealed that the man was actually a former U.S. Navy medical technician. His name was Juan David Ortiz and currently worked for the U.S. Border Patrol. The police located David at a gas station after noticing his truck and confronted him.
Turn around. Oh, hey, 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 hey.
After hours of chasing him, David was finally arrested, but the situation became more complex when they realized that Erika wasn't the only woman affected. There were many other women who became his victims. What started as a seemingly clear-cut case of assault took a gruesome turn when David's crimes revealed a shocking reality, making the situation far more disturbing. As the body count rose, it revealed the mind of a killer who lived on the line between cleverness and dark madness. But why? What could have led this man to such extreme actions? Before this escape on September 14th, Erika went to meet this client and got into his truck, intending to go to his house on Burr Oak Drive. For months, they'd been visiting his house together, driving from Laredo to a middle-class neighborhood surrounded by desert. Their relationship had evolved beyond a simple client and sex worker dynamic. However, during their latest meeting at his place, an unsettling tension emerged, making the atmosphere uneasy for Erika, and sensing her fear, the man asked if she was scared. Despite being alone with them in an unfamiliar suburban area, Erika mustered courage and mentioned the name of her murdered friend, Melissa Ramirez. She asked the man if he knew about her, as news of women disappearing and later their lifeless bodies being found was prevalent during that time. Surprisingly, the moment she said it, something changed in the man's demeanor. His face, usually sullen but neutral, transformed in a way she hadn't seen before. As he approached her from behind, she felt a chilling sensation of death so close that her body revolted. In terror, she rushed out the front door and vomited in his front yard. He also followed her outside, and she hastily made up an excuse that she was feeling sick and needed cigarettes. That was her story. She needed cigarettes, and they had to leave. Maybe the man considered the law enforcement officers among his neighbors, but something convinced him to agree with her. Together, they drove a tense few minutes to a Valero gas station on the loop road nearby. Inside the truck, the conversation escalated into an argument. Erika mentioned Melissa's name again, and the man reacted by pulling out a gun and pressing it against the middle of her chest. He grabbed her shoulder, and despite her fear, Erika twisted against his grip. In the struggle, she reached for the horn, and as they fought, her shirt ripped off. But in an attempt to break free, she rushed out of the door, running and screaming without looking back. She ran towards a blur of lights, fearing a gunshot the whole time. To her relief, she found a state trooper, Francisco Hernandez, who was refueling his patrol car. In a state of panic, she screamed, "He's trying to kill me!" which shocked the officer.
Me sacó la pistola y me quería subir y yo empecé a gritar, help me, help me.
¿Ya se fue?
Sí. Ay, me asusté bastante, sir.
He quickly got her into the back seat, but by then, the truck Erika had escaped from was gone.
I know, it's a shock. I mean, you just escaped from a possible kidnap.
Es que de repente me dio un feeling, sir, de algo de él, and he got very weird all of a sudden. I got a vibe.
A bad vibe.
A vibe.
Simultaneously, the police started taking a statement from Erika at a nearby substation. The trooper who rescued her was aware of the ongoing investigation into Melissa Ramirez's murder and promptly took her to the investigators. By the time the SWAT team finally entered the house Erika had described, it was already vacant. Among the discarded firearms, they discovered an exception, a Heckler & Koch .40 caliber pistol. Remarkably, it matched the same gun that had been pressed against Erika's chest.
He had a AR-15 pistols, and they were staged ready for use.
What did that tell you?
That he was ready to shoot it out for anybody knocking on his door.
So now, in the hunt for the man, a swift manhunt unfolded, and the police promptly issued a be on the lookout alert, also known as a BOLO. It didn't take long to find him, and within a few hours, the police located David at a gas station after noticing his truck and confronted him.
Turn around! Turn around! Turn around! Turn around! Stop right there! Stop! 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 Is this your truck? Is this your truck? Okay, all right. Sir, we got a positive ID with some... This truck right here is matching with the potential, with the murders that's been happening within the past 2 weeks. We want to do an interview. We want to do some questioning. We just need for you to cooperate with us, okay? All right, fine. Make my way. Just turn around and make my way this way, okay? Turn around, please. Turn around. Hey, 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 hey.
After an intense search and a run from the police, David was finally found and arrested. At first, it seemed like a straightforward open and shut case of assault, but the subsequent interrogation revealed a shocking truth. Following the interrogation, David shared his own story and was taken to the police division for questioning that lasted for more than 9 hours, led by Captain Federico Calderon. From the start to end, we'll notice and examine the numerous changes in David's body language and statements, which are important to understand the whole situation. The more investigators delved into his past activities, the clearer it became just how incredibly fortunate Erika was to have escaped with her life. David sits in a small room with neutral walls, which is designed to calm a suspect's mind and reduce distractions. This environment not only helps both interrogators and suspects stay focused, but can also make the interviews more relaxed and encourage individuals to come to terms with their situation. He sits quietly with his head down and staring at the table, barely moving any of his muscles. It seems like he's unaware of being recorded, and his hunched-over posture makes him look more distressed and miserable.
Damn, who's the trooper I smoked, man? The trooper couldn't keep up with me, dude.
Suddenly, David's behavior changed. From sitting quietly, he turned around and started making fun of the troopers who were chasing him. This was completely different from the behavior he'd shown earlier.
Tell him he needs to work out some more, man. Ha! 2 of them. Two troopers, good. I was fucking running, dude.
He again started waiting for the interrogators as they made him wait for a while, a common tactic to build tension and pressure before starting the questioning. This technique aims to make a suspect feel more uneasy, which increases the chance of them willing to reveal information.
Hello, sir. Hello. Good, okay? Good, good. See? You comfortable? You need some water or anything? Yeah. No, I'm good. Are you right-handed or left-handed? Left-handed. Okay.
Shaking hands and introducing themselves is where interrogators take their first step in building personal rapport. This behavior signals respect instead of hostility, suggesting to David that they're here for a cordial conversation. However, having a cordial conversation becomes challenging because the interrogator's main goal is to establish elements about the assault. Interrogators removed handcuffs to make him feel more at ease and ready to talk. Their first goal was to build a connection with them and make him feel supported. This was done to ensure David felt comfortable, making it less likely for him to choose to remain silent.
Or it's my house. You guys have my keys. Just walk in there and give me consent to go into my house.
Do you have any weapons at the house?
After reading David his Miranda rights, interrogators' initial move was to learn more about him, and for that, they began by asking about the evidence found at his house. Even though the interrogators already knew the substantial background information on David, they wanted to hear it straight from the suspect starting with the weapons he had.
Bushmaster loaded. I have a 12 gauge shotgun, which I actually don't know where it's at. It's probably somewhere in my garage. I have a 20 gauge single shot Remington. I have a 22 lever action Ruger. And I have a very, very nice custom Kimber 45 cal.
Are they spread throughout the house, or do you have somewhere specific?
My AR-15 is in my kitchen counter. My 2 shotguns and the lever action are in my garage. And my real nice 45 Kimber is under my bed in my master bedroom. I think that's it.
Right from the beginning, David's hanging his head and sitting uncomfortably, showing signs of impatience and anxiety. However, when you look at his breathing, it seems normal in both depth and pacing. But there's something different about David. Before they begin questioning, interrogators always consider 2 possible reasons for someone's actions. Either there's a psychological problem, like a mental health issue, or there might be sinister motives behind it. So, to figure out which could be the possible reason for David's actions, the interrogators made conscious efforts to avoid displaying any adversarial indicators and strategically transitioned to the next step, asking him about his condition.
Were you having any issues with
Yeah,
injury?
I got a PTSD. They put me on paroxetine, which is Paxil, for anxiety and depression.
Okay.
You guys want to write it down before Paxil for anxiety and depression. They put me on Divalproex for irritability and anger.
Okay.
They put me on Trazodone for sleeping due to nightmares.
Okay.
They put me on gabapentin for migraine headaches. They put me on another one, I don't know the name of it, for that's the high blood pressure. And I was squared away until I started going to the VA and my life went to shit. So I have never been arrested in my life. I have never, nada. I'm sure you guys are able to America. Going to the VA fucked up my life, got me here.
Did you go to the VA in San Antonio?
Here, the one here in Laredo.
So this was the one that messed you up, not the one in San Antonio?
Yeah, I never went to the VA until here in Laredo.
Right.
And they confirmed what I've always thought, confirmed that I got PTSD. They put me on all those fucking pills, on sleeping pills, migraine pills, all kinds of shit. They had me on this 12-week program where I had to go talk to a psychologist. I've seen a psychiatrist a bunch of times.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a mental health condition that can develop after a person experiences a traumatic event. These symptoms may include flashbacks, nightmares, heightened anxiety, and avoidance of reminders. It can affect anyone who's been through a distressing incident, such as war, assault, or natural disasters. Treatment often involves therapy, medication, or a combination of both to help individuals cope with and manage their symptoms. David followed the advice, at least for a while, by visiting Laredo's VA clinic where he received medication to address his struggles. Unfortunately, instead of improving, his health took a downturn. After learning about David's condition, their next move was to grasp how much it might have influenced his actions. They allowed David to ramble and talk freely by guiding the conversation occasionally, while everything was being recorded and carefully checked for any inconsistencies in his behavior or statements.
Dr. Shankar, he's here in Laredo. Shankar, he's like Indian or something.
Okay.
And La que vi every single week for like 12
The one
weeks
I saw.
is in, se llama Patricia Amparan.
Her name is.
She was, I would see her by TV because she's out of San Antonio and I live here in Laredo, so they would do like a
So like the
teleconference.
teleconference? Okay.
and I would talk to her like that, and I was fine until I started going to the fucking VA. So,
did you express your concern to the doctors when you weren't feeling right?
yeah, I once told Patricia Pagan that I was suicidal,
Okay.
and she flat out said, "You need to be very careful with what you're saying because you're law enforcement, and if you say this, I'm gonna have to report this, and it's gonna get you in a lot of trouble." So she pretty much hinted, "Don't say this again."
Okay. Did you ever tell your soup that you were having issues riding the Border Patrol?
They would rubber gun my ass.
Quickly.
Considering I'm a supervisor.
Okay.
Did you start noticing when you started feeling this way? Or was it gradual? Did it happen?
It was gradual.
By the time you felt it was already past.
See,
Yes.
yeah. The first month and a half that I was taking the pills, I had some nasty ass headaches. And they told me it was the body getting used to it. And then they fucking increased my dosage. And then for a while I was just like fucking out of it.
The interrogators brought David's attention back to the weapons he had. Since all the women found were shot, and according to Erika, David wanted to shoot her too, they suspected that he might have used his gun recently, and this would make him more likely to be a target in their investigation.
What's in your truck? You said what's in your truck? Is that what's in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
When was the last time you shot this?
I don't remember, man.
Give or take?
Probably the last time I called, which was once a quarter. So I was supposed to call this coming Tuesday, so subtract 3 months from that. Yeah, I'm here at Wood County jail on Highway 59, I think.
Pero when you ran, you don't know why you ran?
I went into the restroom at the gas station.
Okay.
I came out and I saw a trooper, like another trooper, and one of them had his rifle. Put your hands up! What the fuck?
Okay.
And I was like, don't fucking move, put your hands up! Put my hands up, and I go, sir, you're freaking the fucking crap out of me right now. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Okay.
Sir, right now, are you the owner of that truck? Yeah, it's my fucking truck. Don't fucking move! I'm like, what the fuck? Don't move! He's all like, turn around! I turn around. Fuck this. I fucking took off running.
Because you were scared, or because
Right, you know, I was like, what the fuck? I go to the restroom, and there's a guy with an AR-15 with a flashlight pointing at me. And I think the other guy had a rifle or a sidearm on him. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I take off at a full sprint. And one thing I learned from the house is I don't stop running.
Right.
So I kept fucking running. I'm like, fuck this fuck. These motherfuckers are gonna catch me. And then I just hear,
Oh, you actually hurt?
yeah, he fucking missed the taser.
Okay.
And I kept fucking running again, kept running, and he missed the second taser. Alright, he's empty, you gotta reload. So I'm fucking running. I come up some corner, and there's a sharp one. I make a left. And I was like, fuck, I'm gonna run up this fucking place.
Stay there.
David's description about the event revealed his lack of awareness and indifference about why he was there and the reason for his arrest.
You look squared away with me. You might be going through some stuff right now that I can't relate to, like I said.
And I can.
But you're talking fine. I mean, you're not unraveled. You're not loose with hands. You're not. But I understand that you say you're going through some stuff, and I understand that. But I do want to talk to you about what happened earlier today. And I want to talk to you about some other stuff too. And I'd like to know if you know why you're here. I don't need you. You're telling us we should know why you're here, but you don't have any idea why you're here. No idea. Did you pick anyone up earlier?
Throughout the interrogation, David kept himself in denial mode. Even though he claimed the last time he used a service weapon was months ago, the interrogators weren't convinced. They repeated the question multiple times, hoping he'd admit to the murders, But when he didn't, they completely shifted to the evidence at hand. They directly confronted David about Erika's accusations, and despite Erika stating that she'd known David for the past 5 months, he responded with evasive answers.
You're a family man. You're very obviously not a bad person. We understand that you go through some stuff that sometimes other people aren't going to understand. And I'm asking you to explain some of the stuff that happened and why you feel like you need to keep referring to us like we should know this and we should know that. I'm not going to play around. I'm not going to pretend I know something I don't. I don't know what you're referring to when you say that. But I do know you picked someone up earlier. That I do know.
Where?
Huh?
Where?
I don't know where you picked her up, but I know you picked someone up earlier.
They took her to your house.
I know you took her to your house. She was able to describe your house, your address, the inside of your house, your backyard, describe you by name. Yeah, not only that, but like we said, I mean, it'd be kind of hard to say, that's not my truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on the video. And that's not me at this gas station. That's not me here. And that's why I want to talk to you.
What gas station?
What happened earlier? What happened?
Which gas station? Which one?
Pick one. Pick one.
Murphy's.
Not the Murphy's. Pick another one. Pick one of the other ones you went to.
I don't know.
Well, I can tell you when you went to.
Okay.
The one by Laredo North Station, the one there by McPherson and Loop 20.
Okay.
Can you explain to us what happened in there?
I don't recall anything being there. I don't remember anything from there.
Okay. You were there.
Okay.
And you were there with somebody you knew. Somebody you picked up before, somebody you talked to before, somebody who knew you by name. Yeah. Say something got out of hand. A little bit of a disagreement in there in the car. And that's why we're here. So,
Among other things.
So can we get to that? What happened with that person in the car?
I don't recall anything.
I'm pretty sure you do.
This continued for a while, with David consistently denying any connection to Erika, even when confronted with the items she left in his truck. So the interrogator shifted to the next step, bringing David back to reality, making him understand why he was brought in and what he was suspected of. After building a personal rapport with David, from here the questioning intensified as they aimed to uncover information about other potential victims of David. Despite the gravity of the situation, the interrogators remained calm, asking more open-ended questions to encourage the suspect to share all the facts and evidence.
Yeah, I think you know the bind you're in right now. And I think what happened earlier today with that person, that's not all that happened.
You guys keep saying this person,
A couple of weeks ago.
Listen, look.
Okay. A couple of days afterwards on that lady. And then this happens to you that you remember picking up this other lady. And then guess what? We find another lady tonight.
Oh, fucking shit.
I'm sure you've seen the news, right?
Right.
Tonight, you said?
Oh, fucking shit.
Now the kind of weapon you're describing, same kind of weapon, linked to all of them. You know how DNA works?
Yeah.
Okay. You know how blood works?
Yes.
Okay. You know how a cell tower phone works?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any reason why all that stuff's going to probably be linked to you?
Did you lend your gun to someone else?
Not myself.
It had been a long time.
Well, you don't see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't see. I mean, you studied criminal justice. Well, you know the GSR how it works.
Yes, I know.
Picks up.
Have you done drugs? No. Positive. So if there's somebody out there saying, "No, sir, yo no conozco el enemy."
I know him.
No.
You pissed this right now.
Some of the people we talked to said he didn't necessarily buy for you.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about right now.
We're talking about the person who was found out at Jeffers Road a week ago.
Okay.
Yeah. talking about that?
I saw it on the news.
Saw it on the news.
Yeah.
And the other one?
And we're talking about the one after that.
The news didn't really release much on that one.
And the one tonight?
That, I don't know jack shit about right now. You guys are freaking me out with that one.
And then on top of that, there's the one that got away.
The women the interrogators are discussing were all sex workers. Their lifeless bodies were discovered recently, and David was suspected of being involved in their murders. On September 3, 2018, Melissa Ramirez, a 29-year-old sex worker and a mother of two, didn't come back home. Being extremely worried and unable to reach her on the phone, her mother took matters into her own hands. She headed down to San Bernardo Avenue, a place where sex workers often gathered, in hopes to find her daughter, but even despite her search, Melissa was nowhere to be found. Not long after, on the same day, a local rancher from Laredo, Texas, stumbled upon a grim discovery.
A woman found dead in a rural part of Webb County. Now, what we do know is that the case is being treated as a homicide. We also know the identity of the victim. She's 29-year-old Melissa Ramirez.
The lifeless body of Melissa Ramirez was found in plain sight on the side of the road. Tragically, she'd suffered multiple gunshot wounds to the head, inflicted with a .40 caliber handgun. The confirmation came later that the body indeed belonged to Melissa. A mere 10 days later, on September 13, 2018, another tragedy struck when Claudine Loera, a single mother of 5, went missing. Claudine had faced difficulties finding her way and battled heavy addiction to drugs, which fueled her depression and guilt. In order to support her family, she turned to sex work. Claudine recognized the extent of her drug struggles and even confided in her mother just weeks before her tragic murder. Tragically, any hopes of Claudine turning her life around were crushed by a heartless killer. The very next day, just a few hours before David picked up Erika, Claudine's lifeless body was found on the outskirts of town, once again on the side of the road. She'd been shot multiple times in the head at close range, using the same large-caliber handgun that left casings scattered on the ground. They returned to the timeline, prompting David to recall every detail and speak for himself. The interrogators needed him to admit on his own, as only then could they use the evidence against him in court. They repeated the same incidents over and over, ensuring David stayed focused on the topic and didn't get distracted by other matters.
So you following what I'm saying pretty much? That was part of your actions today, but she noticed you weren't yourself. Probably she noticed because she said you picked her up enough times to know that you were cool. She actually said you were a little bit on your own, but she was cool with that. Yeah, a little bit.
Asshole.
I have no idea who you guys are talking about.
We're talking about Erika. She's not the only one you picked up, though.
Okay.
She's not the only one picked up, and Ortiz. That was earlier today.
Okay.
And Ortiz, earlier today, you were at that gas station by her station.
With her.
With her. Some of the stuff you were doing
Did I
right now.
go into the gas station?
No, you didn't.
I had a full tank of gas, so I don't see why I would go there.
Yeah, that's okay. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. Because you're telling me you had already filled up.
Yeah, and
some of the stuff you're doing right now, when you were describing that you weren't feeling well, the movements you were making with your head right now, you're saying you just weren't feeling yourself and your head. She told us you were doing exactly that, and you kind of started to creep her out. And started asking, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? You said, yeah, I'm fine. And you pulled into the gas station, you went by where the 18-wheelers park?
Where the diesel pumps are at.
Yes, exactly. Okay, exactly. Where? So you know what area I'm talking about, the gas station?
Well, you're talking, I know that gas station in particular, and I know you said where the trucks are at, so like, I know that gas station.
Now we're going to get to the part where you have an issue with, the part where you're upset that the trooper confronted you, but we'll get there right now.
Okay.
So we're at the gas station, right? It is after you left the house. You offered to buy her some meat.
If I buy her something, whoever this person is.
No, you didn't. Because after you offered her something to eat, you started getting upset at her. She said you reached behind the truck, back seat, He pulled out your service weapon and pointed it at her face. She described it to taking her. She starts running away, screaming for help. There were witnesses, there were people there. Guess was in the parking lot also. There's a trooper parks in that parking lot pumping gas. And he sees this lady without a shirt in her bra, running full speed, screaming that someone's gonna kill her. Screaming that someone pointed a gun at her. And she's fearful for her life. She was genuinely scared. She thought she was gonna die.
You know, during those conversations, the conversation of the two females came up.
What two females?
Two females that we found.
Oh.
Okay. And I think that's where you got kind of edgy.
Conversation with who?
Erika.
I don't recall any of these things.
Okay, what happened? What's this? It happened earlier today. And the more she talked about Melissa and Claudine. Did you go to a hospital and shoot it up? No. I know you didn't. Did you go to a daycare and shoot it up? No. I know you didn't. Did you go to a school there by your house and shoot it up? No. I know you didn't do that. So, if you tell me stuff like that, yeah, there's no help for you. That's you're pretty far gone. That's not what happened, and both of them still have. That's not what happened. These were crack addicted people. These were prostitutes. Look at me, Ortiz. They're not going to be missed by too many people. They're not members of society that are productive. You know, I guarantee you, neither one of them was the next Einstein. I can guarantee you that. But it happened. Ortiz, help me understand what you're thinking. Why? It doesn't jive. Look what these women today.
You want me to explain something that I don't know jack shit about.
Okay.
You want me to give you?
You were at the gas station on San Bernardo earlier today, right?
When the cops.
Yeah. But let's put everything else aside. Everything else we talked about. You were at San Bernardo today at the gas station. Why were you there?
Taking a piss.
Why at the gas station on San Bernardo if you live?
I don't know, man.
North Laredo.
Why did I go to the one in Arkansas? I don't know, sir. Why did I go to the one you say by Laredo North Station? I don't fucking know. I went to Murphy's. I filled up my tank. I don't know, sir.
So you're telling me it's completely possible that you did all this stuff and you have zero recollection
If
of it?
you're telling me this shit,
I'm telling you,
and I'm
where
pretty
you
much
were.
fucked, and
I'm telling you where you were. I'm telling you where you were. I'm not lying to you. I'm not, and I can't stress this enough.
David was left alone for more than 2 hours, and at this moment, he's feeling tense due to the intense questioning. Whenever he tried to steer the conversation towards his PTSD, it seemed like an attempt to establish that his actions were influenced by medication and suggested that he had no awareness or control during the events. However, leaving the suspect alone in the interview room for a long time is a common tactic, and it can be quite effective. But not everyone is a fan of this approach. Some experts find it a bit controversial. Using this technique often makes confessions more likely, but there are two downsides. First, it can lead to claims of duress, where a confession is challenged because the questioning was too long or felt oppressive. Second, it gives the suspect time to think about the consequences, which might impact the confession. When suspects are left alone with their thoughts, the potential negative consequences of not confessing can start to weigh on them. In certain situations, it's okay for an interrogator to step out of the room. This might be to regain emotional control, especially if the suspect has provoked an emotional reaction. By stepping out, they can compose themselves or double-check a suspect's statement. However, in this case, everyone is calm, and the suspect isn't trying to give any statements for the investigators to verify. Finally, after 2 hours, the interrogators returned with pictures of the victims. They'd thoroughly examined the entire questioning process and came armed with the most crucial questions. These questions form the foundation of the interrogation, aiming to put more pressure on David for answers. When shown pictures of the victims, David reacted oddly by crumpling them up and tossing them aside. This displayed his aggressiveness, impatience, and restlessness. It was clear he was panicking and desperately trying to avoid facing the evidence, as he knew there was no other way to escape the situation. The interrogators picked up on his reaction and understood it was time for their final move. David was again left alone in the room as the interrogators prepared for the final confrontation, the last stage of questioning. This time, they took a different approach, aiming to make David break down emotionally. They supported him and encouraged him to realize that there's a lot of life left for him, and he's not the person everyone might think he is. In this moment of empathy, David got emotional and broke down in tears, finally ready to reveal the truth.
We're not going to kick in your door like your ass. We're not going to mess up your house. We're not going to mess up your property. I'll give you that picture. I'll even ask the sheriff for permission to let you take it in. I can work on that. All I'm asking for is for you to do the right thing. It does matter.
There's no way to help my wife. Keep my retirement, right? There's no way to hell they can keep that.
What would you keep your retirement?
Because I want her to.
You know what? I don't know, but I can find out. You know, that's stuff that we can work on. That's what I was trying to get out earlier. She can need help after this.
I want her to keep
and there's a way that you could help her. Help us cooperate. Cooperate with us. Help us have a little bit. Tell them that.
If it was a mistake, let us know it was a mistake, man.
What was a mistake?
What happened?
With the girls. Huh?
With the girls.
Please don't stop. I'm asking you, please.
Why? God loves you. God forgive you.
And then she
God
said,
loves you, okay?
and then she was talking to me like that.
Please, just go away, okay? I'm telling you to walk away. Just walk away, okay? Walk away. She walks away, and then she comes back. I'm telling you to walk away. You're not listening to me. Go back up. This time I'm like, fuck. And this time you're
This one I
fucking
feel bad.
catching me out. And it's like I'm
It's all.
yeah, just fucking shoot myself and fucking get it over with.
David admitted to killing all the women execution style, leaving their bodies carelessly on the side of the road. But the big question remains, why? What circumstances led him to commit such acts? However, the reason he gave for his actions was so strange that it left the investigators puzzled and hard to be convinced.
Why the fuck doesn't anybody take out these bitches? Like, I was thinking to myself, the cops. So then, I was all like,
Oh well, these fucking bitches.
whatever, I go home. Yeah, cool, I go home. And then on one of those nights, I picked up that ugly ass bitch that I had no idea who the fuck she is. I didn't even know her name.
You all already know.
Yeah, I said, yes, I already know. Yeah, the first one was not planned. Right. They were doing this. And then after that, I saw her like, this sounds stupid, like, I wanted to clean up the streets and I always gonna fucking do it. So I convinced myself of that. And I was very good at once. I picked up that stupid chick.
That chick?
And just over the top non-stop.
That one.
It's like, que she lived in a hotel, que quién sabe qué.
She was saying that she lived in a hotel and who knows what.
Can you take me where? So we're driving to a place that I've never been to with Erika before. It's in Springfield.
His reasoning was disturbingly clear. He wanted to clean up the streets, believing that sex workers didn't deserve to live. Following this revelation in the interrogation, David faced serious charges. He was charged with 4 counts of murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and unlawful restraint, and was held on a $2.5 million bond. The victims, as mentioned before, included Melissa Ramirez and Claudia Loera. But it didn't end there. More women fell victim to him, including 35-year-old Giselda Alicia Hernandez Cantu and 28-year-old Janelle Ortiz. All 4 victims were sex workers, and they were murdered in a very similar fashion. Because this case could lead to the death penalty, and with the COVID pandemic, David's trial got delayed for 5 years. Finally, on November 28, 2022, his trial began and lasted for 8 days. In the defense's opening statement, they argued that David was a broken man, pointing to his war-related PTSD as a cause. They also claimed that his confession was coerced and suggested that external pressure led to it.
He has a wife, he has kids. He rose through the ranks of the Border Patrol fairly quickly and became a supervisor of the intelligence unit. Now, the intelligence unit, all law enforcement has them that I know of. SAPD has an intelligence unit themselves. And usually the idea is intelligence knows more than your average Joe out here, police officer on the street, right? Otherwise they wouldn't be intelligence. But he does tell them, I'm a war veteran. Several months ago, I started having nightmares. I started having post-traumatic stress disorder. I couldn't sleep. I went to the VA. And they gave him a bunch of psychotic pills. And he gave him the name. They're there somewhere. There's a bunch of them. You know, he's under a lot of stress. He starts drinking. And then, yes, the issue of blackouts. You know, back in February, nothing was happening. He was already having trouble with his memory and the like. Mr. Alanis says that attributes to the Salinas that said blackouts, but he actually, and by he I mean Mr. Ortiz, says, look, I've been suicidal, I've had blackouts, I'm broken, I'm tired. This is a defeated man. He's denying having been involved in these murders. And they hold him from 251, 7, 8, 9 hours later at 11:25. It's not that they broke him. It's that Calderon or Salinas say, hey, he's like, man, I miss my wife. How's my wife? We'll go get you pictures of her. We'll make sure she's taken care of. Oh, well, what about my pension? Will she get it? We'll get her the pension. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, okay? I don't remember it verbatim. They start promising him things.
Here, the defense aimed to highlight David's condition, emphasizing that people with PTSD often have blackouts. These blackouts can involve a disconnection from reality and even flashbacks to past experiences. It's like their mind takes them back to another time. Experts point out a strong link between PTSD and higher levels of anger, aggression, and violence. So, the defense was suggesting that David's actions could be connected to the challenges he faced due to his PTSD. On the 6th day of the trial, Dr. Corrine Stern, the chief medical examiner for Webb County, testified. She showed the jury 16 autopsy photos, but they were so graphic and horrifying that they can't be displayed on YouTube due to their intense nature.
Dr. Corrine Elizabeth Stern.
And what is your occupation?
I am the chief medical examiner for Webb County, Texas. Ms. Ramirez arrived to my office with several wounds that appeared to be caused by gunshots. So she had a gunshot entrance wound. It was on the right side of the jaw in the mandible. That's the lower part of the jaw. So the upper part's your maxilla. This is the mandible, the lower jaw. So it was on the right side in the lower jaw. It was a round defect, and surrounding the entrance wound where the bullet actually pierced through was gunpowder stippling. That just means they're unburnt grains of gunpowder, and that surrounded the entrance wound.
Now, in your report, were you able to determine her cause of death?
Yes.
And what was that?
Multiple gunshot wounds.
And I also noted that in your report you did not You specified that there was no medical intervention. What is the purpose of that?
That means she didn't live long enough for paramedics or EMTs to come in and try to save her life.
Now, Dr. Stern, with regards to all 4 autopsies, were there any similarities as to their injuries?
Well, they all had gunshot wounds, and all the gunshot wounds were neck and head.
What about the projectiles that were recovered?
All the projectiles that were recovered were large caliber, copper jacketed bullets.
And the toxicology results, was there any consistency with them?
Yes, all 4 of them had positive toxicology, a combination of cocaine and/or heroin and Xanax.
On the 8th and final day of the trial, after all the arguments, evidence presentations, and cross-examinations, the family members of the 4 victims had their turn. They gave impact statements expressing their anger and deep sadness over the loss of their loved ones.
Do you know how much pain you have caused to this family? Do you know how many times I wish for Melissa to show up to my home and see her and hug her and hear her voice again? I hate you for what you did, and I can never forgive you, nor do I think God will. You deserve to suffer in prison and go to hell. I still mourn for my sister-in-law. Even though it's been 4 years, I feel as if it happened yesterday. My heart is torn apart knowing that I won't be able to see her, but to visit her in the cemetery. Monsters like you don't even deserve to breathe, nor wake up to every morning. You are a turd, so take back those words you've said to these beautiful women. You deserve to die and suffer for what you did, and when that day happens, I will finally be in peace.
After the family statements, the trial concluded, and it was evident that the prosecution had a strong performance throughout the trial. During the closing argument, they threw a curveball at the jury, understanding that sometimes it just takes one clever statement to make a difference. They aimed to cast doubt on at least one jury member and potentially alter the entire outcome of the trial.
Now, the first thing that you are going to do when you go back to deliberate is you're going to select your foreperson. And that foreperson is going to read the instructions again to you. And these instructions are going to serve as your roadmap. So where does this roadmap lead you? It's going to lead you first to definitions. Knowingly. I put up the entire definition, but I want you to focus on one word. Aware. He is aware that his conduct is reasonably certain to cause the result. Intentionally. Focus on the desire. The desire to engage in the conduct or cause the result. And how do we know what desire is? Desire can be seen the moment somebody picks up a gun, wraps their finger around the trigger, and pulls. We've seen that. We've seen that in each of these scenes. 3 times that desire at Melissa's. 2 times that desire at Claudine's. 3 times that desire at Guisela's. And 1 final time that desire with Janelle. What's murder? A person commits the offense of murder if he intentionally and knowingly causes the death of an individual. And what about capital murder? More than one murder pursuant to the same scheme or course of conduct. And I'm going to refer you to page 3, paragraph 5 of your jury instructions. It says that you must unanimously find that he committed at least two of these murders pursuant to the same scheme or course of conduct. And we believe you will. We believe that you will find every single one of these pursuant to the same scheme or course of conduct. And here are all the murders that you have. On September 3rd in Webb County, Juan David Ortiz intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Melissa Ramirez by shooting her. You can read it as you follow along. You saw all of us referring to it while we were taking notes, flipping the pages. You didn't get to do that during the trial, but you're going to get to go back and do that now. And he will tell you in there why he did this. At least 4 times he's going to say it in there. 4 times he's going to say it in there. I was cleaning up the streets. 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 And now we'll also talk about the rights that he is afforded. Because as we stood here, the first day of trial, that the search was illegal, that there's just not enough evidence. But I want you, as you listen to them, to stay focused. Use your common sense and rely on your life experiences. And if you remember nothing else from what I told you, I want you to remember this. When they come up here, it's not about what they tell you. It's about what we showed you from that witness stand. Your Honor, I will reserve the rest of my time for Mr. Owens.
The prosecutor just told you that she knew we were going to come up here and argue that the search was illegal and the evidence shouldn't be admitted. Well, she's quite right, because she is right. The search is illegal, was illegal, and that evidence should not have been admitted for your consideration.
The behavior and the conduct of the police officers, regardless of what you might think about Mr. Ortiz, based on your oath, you should exclude all the evidence of the statement, because in fact, it violated his rights. No matter, remember what I told you about our founding fathers, they didn't say, oh, these rights are for good people only, okay? And if your oath is, if you're true to your oath, and only you will know if you're being honest to yourself, true to yourselves, that when you raised that hand, you said, I'm going to follow this oath and rule on the law. I submit to you that based on what you have in front of you, they violated his rights by not accepting the no. That should be it, as clear as day. And then they violated his rights by all this duress. Like I said, it wasn't the ribeye. You know, they weren't offering him dismissals and the like, but he was tied up. And anything that came in from his statement, you should say, I'm not going to consider that as evidence. Because that's what this judge is telling me, if the state failed to convince me beyond a reasonable doubt. And all the evidence that they got from that truck, because they searched it illegally twice, you should say, I'm not going to consider any evidence because they failed. The police are the ones that did these things wrong. They failed to convince me beyond a reasonable doubt. I have reasonable questions. And without that evidence, you should return a verdict of not guilty. Thank you all for listening to me, and I appreciate your time.
For the defense in this case, their closing argument didn't have the impact they hoped for, and on December 7th, 2022, Juan David Ortiz received his verdict.
Juror number 1, can you please stand and tell me, was this your verdict? Well, okay, in the front.
Guilty.
Juror number 2?
Guilty.
Juror number 3?
Guilty.
Juror number 4?
Guilty.
Juror number 5? Juror number 6? Juror number 7? Juror number 8? Juror number 9? Juror number 10? Juror number 11? And juror number 12?
Guilty.
Thank you. You may be seated.
David was found guilty of 4 counts of capital murder and received a life sentence in prison without the chance for parole. It was a heartbreaking moment for all the families, but there was some solace in knowing that the person responsible for taking the lives of their loved ones was now behind bars. What are your thoughts in this case? Did David's PTSD really play any role in these murders? Or was it all already planned? We'd love to hear from you. If there's a case you'd like us to cover, don't hesitate to drop your recommendations in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more captivating true crime stories. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes peeled for the next mystery to unfold.